There was another article that I wanted to talk about a little bit because it's something that I talked about on stream when it happened and wanted to follow up on. That was Makia Bryant, and this article in particular, I'm not gonna read it in its entirety, but it touches on a little bit of what I had theorized based on what little we knew at the time. And goes to the heart of why law enforcement using lethal force can never be accepted, which is the accounts of the circumstances for this extrajudicial murder of this 16-year-old black girl were not as cut and dry as people, even liberals like to think. Like, I've encountered several people who are like, oh, well, she had this knife and she was going to stab someone and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, but we don't know the whole picture. And also a stab wound is very unlikely to immediately kill someone, whereas 5 bullet shots to the back will. So from Makia Bryant's perspective, she was trying to protect herself and her family from a very credible and a threat of being beaten up by a older and larger woman. Her and I think her sister were being threatened. And that is why she had armed herself. And like, I'm not saying that, just being threatened warrants trying to stab someone. What I am saying is it was a hell of a lot more complicated than one person has a knife and is trying to stab someone else, and therefore it's justified to shoot them. No. And if she had been taken in rather than executed on the spot, the full circumstances could have been brought out in court, could have been deliberated by a jury, and an actual meaningful verdict could have been made. Obviously, not to my satisfaction as an abolitionist, but it would have been a hell of a lot better than just murdering and taking a life. The whole article is a tragedy of this. It paints the picture of the US doing what the US does best, taking a non-white person in a disadvantaged situation and kicking them repeatedly while they're down, and then snuffing them out when things go wrong. That's the too long didn't read version of this. It's bouncing between semi-abusive foster environments, never actually getting the support she needed as a human being, and ultimately that, those domestic frictions spilled out, got law enforcement involved, and they turned from apparently routine fighting into someone getting executed by cops. So, yeah. I wanted to circle back on that because we didn't know much at the time. It had only just happened the day that I started streaming. I raised some of these concerns about the fact that we did not know everything at the time. And rather than, and, you know, use that to highlight the fact that killing people always ensures that you never will know enough about a situation, because they can't say their defense. Anyway, it keeps happening. It has to stop.